the aspect of the dhite mattan. In seeing, only seeing, sute mattan. In hearing, only hearing. Mute mattan is in touching, anything that touches. So the smell or the body touching and taste is mutta, touching. And vinyata is any thoughts or anything, any dhamma that can come. Dhamma means things which is created. Anything that is created, like wife, husband, son, daughter, house, job, etc., etc. These are all created. Okay, so that appears in the mind because they are not physical. I'm seeing something, but I'm referring that as or a friend or something. Okay, so that thing, creation of the thing, is the Dhamma. So what it means, I mean, we don't have to spend another one big hour on this, but I think half an hour is sufficient. For practice is that if you were taking the Malum Ke Putta Sutta, Malum Ke Sutta, is that is it established or unestablished? So if you allow, meaning if you are not mindful, then it gets established. So when he says dhite mattan, is that there's nothing getting established by the sight and that object. Got the point? And if it is true that way, then there is no two ends and the middle. Otherwise, you will have two ends and the middle. Any questions on that?
I was thinking about the example the other day. I was in the supermarket and I was trying to be mindful, and then this song came on, and then I thought, and then you start singing for a little bit, and I thought, oh no, I've lost my mindfulness. And I was thinking, how can I be mindful? And I guess thinking about the anicca nature. I think it's of things. Like, okay, well, this is going to go away, and then these are essential desires. I guess the thing is, what's the best way to be mindful about? With taste, it's easy with anicca nature of taste, because that's easy to be mindful of. Things like music that just kind of come through can be a little bit tricky, but I guess I was just thinking what would be the best way, thinking about vibration. It's just vibration, or just thinking about the anicca nature of the song, of music or sounds.
All that what you explained me just now is all Dhamma. You have created a thing. So when you create a thing, you're already moved into that. So there's no way you can come out of it. See, when I see an object, I start thinking of that object. I might not physically touch that object, but I have touched it with my mind. Okay. Now I am fighting within the mind why this is coming. And that's never going to work out. So the sutta, what we have taken yesterday, is very deep and very, actually that takes you to Arahat. That sutta, particular sutta, is for Arahat. Meaning, if I were to practice as per that, definitely I become an Arahat, or I will reach Arahat. Instead of I become an Arahat, I can say, I am an Arahat, or I have reached Arahat, as a conventional. Meaning I have dropped off everything. Meaning to say that when I am looking at this and this goes away, and the center. Let me give some examples to make things very clear. I am seeing this, which we have spoken for long, but let me give a step-by-step approach to that. I am seeing this. I am is just a language. make it as a language, because there's no other way to express. If it just stays as a language, then there is no coming and going. There is no in between also. If it goes beyond the language, and I sense it through feeling. How did I get the feeling? Because of the contact between this and that. So then what happens? I'm here and I'm there, right? Now, just like a dog starts seeing its own reflection and consider it as another dog, this established consciousness, which is niddasana vinyana, not anidasana, it is niddasana, illustrated, it is manifested, it is established, called by whatever English words we can say. Now this consciousness has established over there. So there are two consciousness now, one here and one there.
Because you see you interacting and then you're thinking, oh yes, if I move, that's me over there as well. So now you're here, kind of, but you're also over there.
Yes, I'm here and I'm there. And I am talking to May, she's there and also here. Now, it's a virtual thing what we are doing. So in the mind appears that I need to physically meet you now. Got the point? Because it's unsatisfying. I can't touch you. I can't really feel that nearness through this video call. So now my mind is in anxiety to be there. And that's exactly what is explaining.
And that's
Tato.
meaning but getting established.
Yes.
Sorry, you were saying your Bollywood.
No, yato, tato.
Tato.
Tato, yato. Tato tam. Nattena. Nattatta. But it is tena and tatta. No, not na tena. It is tena. Tena means here and there. So you go from that and that is there. So you start association. So don't take that and this like that. It's an association. So am I not, that is, am I means, isn't it not this consciousness is associating with an object there with an intention that I am here, so I am there. And when here and there have to be, it has to be stitched by craving.
So the same thing happens when you're looking in a mirror, isn't it? Because you're here and then you're there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now what happens is that I do it with everyone. Not only I do with myself, I do with everyone. So now whomever I see with the same sense that she is there, I am here, so I need to make her mine. So I get into a marriage, thinking that by marrying she is always there with me, which is not true. Okay. Now this marriage makes me have children so that we have someone other than us. Makes sense? Otherwise it is boring. See, initially, all by myself was boring. So I took another person whom I believed is my wife. And now that is boring. So I made another few children to reduce the boredom. Now we are 4, which is fun. So I am here, she is there, and they are my children. So what should I do with the children? They're actually play things for me. Okay. So now what happens is that it creates abhijja on one side, vihesa on the other side. If they do what I want them to do, it's fine. If they do what I don't want them to do, the vihesa will start because I don't like. But I don't understand that they are not here to please me. They are here to fulfill their own agenda. Just like I am here to fulfill my agenda, and whomever I called my wife is here to fulfill her agenda, and these 2 children who are born to me and my wife are there for their agenda. They have got nothing to do with me per se. Even though they say dad, because I've been telling them I am your dad, but they have no interest that I am their dad. They have literally no interest. So I need to feed them, give them all the material comforts, etc., and fine. If I don't give them, then they abuse me because I'm not giving. So I am just a supplier and they are the customer. There's a supplier-customer relationship. So she, as wife, is giving me as a customer whatever she is supposed to give. I, as a supplier, giving her those things which supposed to be given as for a customer, as a supplier. So I am the supplier for something, she is supplier for another thing, and these 2 children are the supplier for something. At the same time, they are the consumer for something. So the consciousness is supplier as well as a consumer. There is no person as a separated supplier and a separated consumer, because he is indeed both the supplier and the consumer. So if I have dhite mattam, then the supplier is gone and so the customer, because there's nothing to consume. The sites are not there to be consumed, and then the supplying thing has to happen. The energy has to be supplied for that to be consumed. If there is nothing to be consumed, there is no energy to be supplied either. So it's done. So it's not about should I see Patvi and all that. Yes, why we take Patvi is to get disinterested, disenchanted with it. To get the nibbidha, disillusionment, disinterestedness. Because what you do with Patvi? Nothing. And that's the reason we are doing it. It's not that I keep saying it is Patvi, 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 Patvi like that. No. And that's the reason we require to use Patvi for 6 months or a year, because it takes so much time, to be honest, to get disenchanted. Meaning, what is disenchantment here is that to cut it off from the established consciousness. So it's already established as Patvi. It's established as Apo in the consciousness, not in me or you or anything. In the conscious, there's a conscious experience of Patvi. So when I'm seeing this, it draws in me. It's me. I am this I am in this video. If somebody says, Vilas, your videos come very well, it's to me. But actually, what is he congratulating is to Patavi Dhatu. But I think that is me. Because nobody has seen me per se. They have seen this body. They have not seen me. But the corruption here in the mind is that I am this body and hence I am not a Sotapanna. Got the point? When I see this, I feel I am this body. It's mine. So I can't be a Sotapanna either. And then the second stage, Sakadagami, where I don't have much interest in these sense things, not much. And to that extent, the irritation is not there. And when I come into Anagami, then both sides are gone. Meaning, what is there to get interested in any one of these? So now I can see Patavi. Its entirety I can see. Meaning, I can say that it's not getting established in the consciousness. That means this body is not established. Yes, go ahead.
So when you see somebody, you know, how like I said, in the mirror or somebody, the first thing you see is the patawi instead of the person, and then having to tell yourself. When you're having to tell yourself that's a patawi, that means it's not, you haven't got it entirely yet.
Correct.
Yes.
So when I see you, May, I have taken you as May, which means I have not done dhite matan. I have gone beyond that. It means that consciousness has got established. So there is an interest now to see or to feel or to touch or to sense or to cognize or to do something about it. Okay. This disinterestedness is a starting point of Nibbana. And the interestedness is a starting point for samsara. Like Aryu keeps on using one word called curious. I'm very curious. If he really means that I'm curious, it means he has lost the plot. Because when I'm curious, the mind, that the chitta has already moved over there. A dog was not supposed to look inside the water, starts to see its own reflection like this, and becomes curious. Huh?
So you're already there. Yeah, you're already curious. You're already really attached and established in that reflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now that curiosity is a starting point for moha, delusion. So when I use the word I'm just curious, I'm already in delusion. Otherwise, the curiosity wouldn't come. That means the disinterestedness is not there. In fact, I'm getting more interested by that. I'm feeling more compelled. So, unfortunately, many times he uses that word, I'm just curious. I'm just curious to know. I keep on telling him, cut the curiosity. And I've used the word curiosity kills the cat. There's one proverb also for that. If you try to be very curious, you're going to kill that very thing which you wanted to investigate. But anyway, so the curiosity leads to delusion. And once deluded, it will immediately bring in dvesha and raga. That is, you get desire to know that, and then repulsion if it is not as per what you expect it to be. Right? So your happiness is now dependent upon the level of delusion. Because you don't have any happiness now. Because you're deluded. Like, It's not that you should be working for a hospital. It's not that you should have a family. It's not that you should be in a particular country. No, you do all of that. But deep within, when I say deep within, it's like internally, like I'm always external. Now I move like this. So the yoniso manasikara is turning back, not turning outwards, it's turning back. And watching what is the eye seeing. Hey, I told you, no watching there. No watching means no watching. Come on, no watching, no hearing, no tasting, no touching, no smelling, no thinking. And that Indriya Samvara, guarding of the sense door, once it happens, it cuts the very thing which was held. And then you are in Nibbana. And when you can establish, meaning here, establish, it was always in Nibbana, it had got established in Sansara, now it has cut off the Sansara, so it's always in Nibbana. Sansara is a manifested one, which is conditioned, which is created, which is, we can use prepared, we can use so many words to describe it. Meaning, I have created a world, now I have destroyed the world, if I could use that. So I can see it's in a very disintegrated way rather than integrated, because I have to put pressure to integrate it, whereas I don't have to put anything to integrate because it's always disintegrating. Reality, if I see, the world is disintegrating, but I make it integrated. I means in the mind, when I use the word mind, it is chitta. In the chitta, what appears is an integrated experience, which is ayoniso manasikara. That means it doesn't have a proper discernment, doesn't have proper investigation, it doesn't know what to do. Whereas now it is able to exactly see, like I am seeing this. Is this my eye? No. It's just an eyes. Is this my ear? No. May is also having, I am also having. It's the ear. Is my nose, my mouth, lips, my face, my neck, my this, my that. And it is, so the consciousness has now turned back, like it's just watching over as a witness. And when it witnesses, it can get into wisdom. So the wisdom opens up. Aha! There is no object at all. All the while, I was creating this object. So, in that sutta, he says, I'm not going to do that. That's what he says. So, the brief one, he explains it in detail. That's all I had to say. Because yesterday I felt we spoke of many things, so we might lose track of it. If you want to meditate upon that, then you should know that there are two consciousness. One is unmanifested, one is manifested. What are we dealing with? It is the manifested one. And that's the one which will eventually get established again and again. If you ask me, is it the same consciousness? The answer is no. If you ask me, is it a different consciousness? The answer is no. If you ask me, there is a combination of that one and this one, the answer is no. Because consciousness is just consciousness. You just get conscious about it. Wherever, whatever manifests, it gets conscious of that. It knows it. The knower. So when I see this through yoniso and with proper discernment, proper investigation, I don't see vilas. If I lose it, the sati is not there, then I see the same one as vilas. And not only that, I start feeling happy about, or I start feeling bad about. That's basically, these two things are going to happen. Either I feel happy, I feel sad. I feel happy, I feel sad. Why? Because the consciousness is now got deluded to think, meaning deluded to experience vilas. And it does every effort to retain vilas. Because that is what the anicca nature is now nicca nature. It means it's going to be. I will do something about it. And as long as vilas is there, so long sukha is there. Because it's atta, myself. It's a permanent self called vilas. Okay? And that is auspicious because I am remaining. I am there. Nobody can take me out from myself. So by doing dhite dhite mattam, I've turned back like this and I'm watching. Where is vilas? Tell me. There's no vilas. Never to be found. So that's what it is. Hope I've clarified. Any questions?
Or just the bit you said about the consciousness. No, I understand that bit now. And into the consciousness is interesting. The other day I was like kind of lying down, and then when you feel something, your consciousness is there, and then you hear, let's say, something buzzing in the background, and suddenly it's there, and so the consciousness kind of moving, isn't it? But it can only focus on one thing at a time.
But that's fine. See, the established consciousness can only do one at a time because it gets established wherever, whatever is happening. So there are 6 established consciousness. One is the sight, one is the sound, one is the taste, one is the touch, one is smell, and one are thoughts. That is what is the established consciousness. The chakuncha paticcha rupecha upajjati chakku vinnyanam is nothing but the consciousness gets established there. It gets manifested there. On the very thing, it gets manifested. Tinna sangati phasso. So now the contact has been formed. With consciousness comes the feeling. So you feel, meaning when I say you, the consciousness can take the feeling. It can get into the feeling. So what does it feel? It feels sukha, happiness, dukkha, unhappiness, adukha, asukha, which is neutral. So when I see an object, when I say I am seeing an object, it's the consciousness of seeing an object, and it gets associated with that object. When I say it's an association, it means it has got manifested or established, or it has taken. It's another word which we can closely relate is taken. It has taken it.
One thing, like you say, let's say like a Sotapanna or Nanagami, you say they don't. So the 5 aggregates is not theirs, but like you said, there's a deep down. When you look at it, the picture or the mirror, you know that it's still you, obviously, so that you don't
that
confuse yourself with somebody else.
See, Sotapanna is a person who knows the 5 aggregates. It doesn't mean that he has crossed over. Then there is no difference between Arahat and a Sotapanna.
Yeah, so he understands it. He looks in the mirror. He knows that it's all like him.
He is not obsessed with himself.
No, yeah.
But yet there is an interest. Otherwise, no Kamachanda would appear. No Vyapada will appear. Otherwise, he would have been an anagami by now. Why called as sotapanna? Right?
Yeah.
Only at anagami, he doesn't have the concept of I am the body, I am the mind. Both are not there. But the mana, what exists is that I have become something better than a normal worldling or a sotapanna or a sakadagami. So there is a vanity in him that, I've escaped, which is the mana. So this mana that I am this is different than the anagami's mana. Anagami mana is a very subtle mana than the gross mana of a puttujana or a sotapanna or a sakadagami. So we confuse the mana to be sakkaya ditti. No, mana has got nothing to do with sakkaya ditti.
It's just them taking pride in this label.
Yes. So if you were to ask me, Vilas, if you are a anagami, what you would feel as mana? I feel relieved. That's mana. That itself is mana. There need not be any other mana than that mana, right? It's subtle. Because that puttujana or a sotapanna cannot understand my relief feeling. But I know the relief. That's the difference.
Yes, thank you. No, it's good to clarify a few things. I think I got this and that and all that much better.
Yeah. So yesterday I was wondering after I spoke to you that you are taking that this and that too seriously. So I thought, let me take you from what I and you need to know is that the consciousness manifests. When it manifests, it manifests as you, I, me, he, she, this, that, and in between.
Yeah, I get it now. Like you said, even you, as soon as you thinking about, like you said, when you saw you and you're already there, you're in California. You're thinking about California. Your consciousness is already there, living in California.
Yes, it's already in
Yeah.
California. Only
already
the
there.
physical has not gone. It's already.
But your mind's gone already.
Yes, it's already manifested. So the consciousness has got manifested in a concept called California, in a concept called as San Francisco, in a concept called as Ariu, in a concept called as a house, in a concept called as a car, in a concept called as whatever concepts. Now, no matter how much I say, there is no Ariu, there is no California, there is no San Francisco, that's just, it doesn't do anything because that means the consciousness is in your ayoniso manasikara, but yet trying to become yoniso manasikara at the same time will not happen. So just to turn back itself, turning back requires dhatu or ayatana or something to contemplate, including the breath or whatever it is. Just to turn back, yes.
But at the moment, let's say it had gone there, you can bring it with, let's say, because you lost sati, but then as soon as you become mindful, you could bring it back.
Yes.
And then you're not there.
Yes. That's where the sati is. And the sati will only be there when sila is there. So it is interlinked. Sila, samadhi, panya. For sila is a starting point. That doesn't mean it's an ending point also. Sila will get you the environment ready for the samadhi, which requires sati. And because there is samadhi, there is panya, there's a wisdom. You see, got it. So consciousness is established here and there. No Vilas can be found. Yeah, got it. got it. Now I got it. Now if I see every object, it doesn't manifest. So my chitta is clear. I mean, the stream which was coming in the chitta, the mind, doesn't have delusion now on vilas. It's a beautiful relief. Why? Because all the narratives are for vilas only. If you ask me, whose channel is that? Vilas. Who is talking? Vilas. Who is explaining? Vilas. What is vilas? They have to describe vilas. But what about me? Unless I make this I am vilas, there is no other way to associate. So the vijnana has to get established as vilas, which is ayoniso manasikara. What if it knows there was no vilas at all? So then what happens? The very moment nibbana is experienced, because there is no vijnana of that kind. So it is peaceful. It becomes etan santan, etan panitan. Yadidam sabba sankhara samato sabbupadi pateni saggo tanhakhayo virago nirodha nibbana. Because there is no craving for vilas. If there is no craving for vilas, there is no clinging for vilas. If there is no clinging for vilas, there is nothing to become. Bhava. If there is nothing to become, there is no jati, birth. If there is no jati, there is no jara marana soka parideva dukkha domana supayasa sambhavanti, which is nirujjanti. Doesn't arise. In that consciousness, not in me, in that consciousness. So there is relief. And it can be experienced herein and now. And that's that sutta. Okay. Hope you got it. If you still have any further doubts or whatever, we can again meet tomorrow, day after tomorrow, whenever. But this is the gist of. We can meet the same time tomorrow. If you still feel that, I think I require, or some other sutta where you think will get you clarity, we can go through that and we can see what can help, what can work out for you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Yes.